then it got to a point where I started realizing how the cultures overall in the organization, how management and all of that combines together. And we can really pull all of that together. That's really where the secret sauce for curiosity really lies.
Martians landed.
Yes.
Wearing Prada suits.
Yes.
Drinking Henry's seltzer.
Yes.
Chewing juicy fruit.
Yes, and?
Your branding here.
Yes, brand.
Your message here.
Yes, and?
A verse about
Yes.
your product here.
Yes.
I'm Hersh Redford.
Yes, and?
I'm a message therapist.
Yes.
And I have a podcast.
Yes, brand.
That's right, that's it.
Yes.
We'll help you fix the world.
Yes.
Or your bottom line.
All right.
Your bottom line.
Get it. I get it. Welcome to the Yes Brand Podcast.
With me today on Yes Brand is Jon Bassford. Jon's an operations professional and an entrepreneur. He's driven by his curiosity. Curiosity is his superpower. It's driven his personal and professional advancement. And after law school, Jon put this curiosity to work, launching, managing, and improving operations for venture-backed startups to global nonprofits with impact. And for Jon, there's nothing that curiosity can't help. And today, Jon is known for this curiosity-driven leadership, helping organizations and individuals innovate, change, and grow by adapting curiosity as their superpower. And today, I have no doubt that Jon is curious to know why I am broadcasting from the beaches of Iowa City. It's really not the beaches, and people who are not watching this can't tell, but it does look pretty real. Welcome, Jon, to the Yes Brand Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm going to enjoy it.
It's really a pleasure to have you. What makes a curious person, in your opinion?
Sure. I think just that ability to analyze, to question, to think about things in a different way. Curiosity, although I didn't always know about this superpower that I had, but looking back, it's always been there. Just my inquisitive nature and wanting to get to the bottom of things and really being able to and being willing to just question anything and everything.
Yeah. So that brings up a good question. When you question anything and everything, a lot of kids, when we're young, we question authority. Kids continue to question authority. You and I are both we have pets, we have dogs. We know that they certainly question. So where does that evolution take place, do you think, between having a healthy curiosity and actually adapting to norms and other rules of the game, so to speak?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, especially kind of given my childhood upbringing. Again, I think it's always been there. And I'm someone who grew up in the Midwest, grew up in a very conservative environment, Baptist church, Southern Baptist churches. And that's not always questioning authority and questioning adults is not something that's always accepted in that kind of atmosphere. And so I certainly was pegged a little bit as a troublemaker. Again, not that I was out there breaking laws, but just my nature and ability to question. But I was always that kid that was told, you're great at arguing, you're this, you're that, you're going to be a great lawyer, or you're going to go to law school someday. So that's what I did. It really wasn't really until my first job that I started looking at, it came into a job where I quickly was able to see a hole that they were missing.
Yeah.
It greatly changed the organization. And from there, that's where I was like, man, curiosity and this questioning and analytical nature and analytical mind isn't the troublesome, curious George. It is actually the way to unlock change and really fuel growth and innovation. And that's what that pivot there really made a difference for me.
Yeah. When I was a kid, also, my parents would say, oh, you'd make a great lawyer. And I think that they sense that because you're being argumentative, you're asking questions. And in my case, I always felt I wanted to go in a more creative direction. I wanted to go outside the lines. But I think what maybe we learn is that in order to go outside the lines, it helps to know where other people think the lines are or why they've drawn those lines. You know, what happened after law school?
So I ended up falling into working for a legal organization. I was a member in law school. My career first started out in the nonprofit association space. It's now expanded, like you said, to startups and small businesses as well. I still work in the association space too, but that's where I ended up and kind of really helped me build my career and also helped me really foster this notion of leaning more into the operational side of things.
Being an operational operationally oriented person, do you find that organizationally your appreciation of all of that stuff gives you the freedom to explore?
Yeah, a couple of things here, right? Being in operations, you're working for a small organization. You're overseeing accounting, legal, HR, governance, a lot of things, right? You cannot know everything about everything. So you really have to have a curious mind. You have to be willing to look dumb. You have to be willing to ask questions. You have to be willing to admit you don't know the answer in order to go find the answer. And so that really what really allowed me to start playing with curiosity and just utilizing my resources to really find answers and solve problems is again kind of my progression of kind of understanding the power of curiosity. And then it got to a point where I started realizing how the cultures overall in the organization, how management and all of that combines together. And we can really pull all of that together. That's really where the secret sauce for curiosity really lies.
Now, explain for the audience a little bit how you work with a client, because this is when you do something a little bit different. And I love talking to people who are innovative and thought leaders, but you have to create your own protocol, which speaks to the topic at hand. But what is it like for a client working with you?
Sure. So when I first started consulting, I launched operations for a few startups, again, both for profit and nonprofit, and then stayed on as a fractional COO. But I hit a ceiling. The fractional work is an exchange one time for money, right? There's only so much of me to go around. And I wanted to help more organizations grow and change. So I started thinking about what it is that I do as a fractional CEO and what I've done throughout my career. And it's really all about helping bring a fresh set of ideas, helping analyze operations quickly and efficiently and effectively so that they can make the changes they need to grow. So we actually come into organizations now and conduct an audit of their operations. And we look at their decision-making framework. We look at their adaptability. We look at the maturity of their operations. We look at their efficiency and compliance. We do all this in a very short, succinct amount of time so that we can give the client a roadmap of these are the things that you need to fix to grow and change. And then usually they have me stay on as a kind of executive coach that continues to work with them on mindset, the operational execution, and as well as the culture.
Let's talk a little bit about mindset. That's interesting as well. Where does that fit into things?
The distinction between a fixed and a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is this is the way things are, this is the way they always have been. We're okay with the status quo. Versus the growth mindset is bringing in that curiosity, thinking that both people and organizations are not set in one path, are not destined for one thing, but can continue to learn, grow, and change to achieve more and do even better.
When people are adapting and changing and growing, do you come up against a lot of resistance to that sometimes with the clients you're working with?
Yeah, I would say I come with more resistance when I was a W-2 employee more than as a consultant. And actually,
Yeah.
that kind of spurred my desire to want to be a consultant was I got tired of a boss I was working for. I was COO, rejecting my ideas just to go get the exact same idea from someone externally and think it was the greatest thing ever. So now that I'm a consultant, I'm brought in for my expertise, brought in for my change management. There's less objection to things and resistance, but you still have it, right? You still have to break down some ego. You still have to break down some habits. Organizations are run by people, and we have our blinders and we have our habits and traditions and this and that. And you do have to work to break that down in a very productive, non-judgmental way to get them to start seeing the curiosity piece.
Well, you have that kind of disarming way about you, I think, where you come at it from the point of view of the team, helping the collective. And I think you're right. When you're an outside voice, that's exactly what happened. Here you were shunned as an inside voice or met resistance as an inside voice. You said, you know what, I'll just be the outside voice. And then, those same people will come to me. And there's some validity to the perspective being different. We do feel sometimes in our own companies, in our own circles, we might not have the perspective that an outsider has to come in and really audit and really evaluate. Doing a self audit is certainly not easy and probably is fraught with its own challenges. Coming in from the outside, you have this perspective. With Yes Brand, with the show, we like to talk about how you share this perspective and this new model, so to speak, with the right audience. How do you come face to face with the right client, the right audience?
Yeah, so I do a lot of webinars. I reach a lot of people that way, just trying to explain this. And it is a different approach, right? It's in the way I frame this a lot of times is if we think about strategic planning for a lot of people, or just people want to grow, right? It's either strategic planning often becomes a bunch of people, the same people, sitting around the same table, talking about where they want to go without ever doing any kind of real analysis on where things are. Sure, they might do a SWOT analysis, that sort of thing, but it's very superficial. And so we dive deeper. Similar with growth, even companies aren't going strategic planning, but just want to grow. It's usually more of the same. What they're missing is filling in the gaps that are really the hindrance of their growth. And it may be their marketing, it may be their salespeople, it may be their ad spend, but it may be something far different. And without fixing these holes, you're building on a broken foundation that will eventually, come stagnant at best and collapse at worst. So it's really about reaching people through content and helping them understand the difference of different strategies to help them grow and change and innovate.
Yeah, and now content can take any shape or form. What works best for you?
Yeah, so I have not quite dialed in the secret sauce for social media, I have to admit, for the most part. Fairly active on LinkedIn. I actually do a lot on LinkedIn, reaching business owners and executives of nonprofits, but really reaching out to communities that I'm a part of, that my ideal clients are a part of, in doing the content through the webinar pieces and in other kind of virtual and live events has really been the best thing for me. I'm working on boosting up my video content on Instagram, et cetera. I do believe that's a great way, but because it is kind of a different approach and it requires a tad little bit of explanation. I'm not a marketing or sales person who says, hey, we're going to increase your ROAS by this, or we're going to 10x your company in 6 months. Although those people never really do that very often, but mine's different. I don't know how I'm going to help you until we lift the hood, take a look at the engine and see what's wrong.
That's something that I just had a conversation last week with some people about that, which is when you're in a space that has to do with not just self improvement, holistic kind of growth and life marketing and just all kinds of things that just don't have that same ROI. It's not a 10x, it's not an X. There's no X's in it. It's really subjective. And you're going to get out of a program necessarily what you put in. Perhaps it's going to, and you're right about looking under the hood. Until you start to really explore what's going on, you have no idea whether you can help or how you're going to help. And so I think that a lot of people are, and I'm saying this for the benefit of the listeners, a lot of people are out there thinking that there has to be some bottom line dollar kind of revenue result to a successful service. And of course, depending on how we serve and what the business is for our client, there's a bottom line. But there's also a next figure. It could be impact. It could be money. We talk about it on the show a lot. And the higher I go up in the revenue chain when I'm talking to people, the more I find them circling back to impact, to fulfillment, to the quality of the life and business you want to conduct. And I think that there must be like a next gen marketing model that speaks to something beyond the revenue, the bottom line return.
And there's no doubt that most of my clients, we do impact their bottom line. But also a lot of aspect of it is one of the biggest things that I come across for a lot of small organizations, whether nonprofit or for-profit startup, it's been around for 20, 30 years, is a lot of founders, owners, CEOs tend to outsource their zone of genius parts, the product, the service, the marketing, the sales, things that they really are the best at. And what happens when they outsource that but don't touch the internal operations piece is they get sucked into it. So one of the biggest things that I do and have to work on is convincing owners that, hey, look, you need the old adage of working on the business, not in the business, right? That's one of the things I help them do is see where they're spending time. And if I can free up 10, 15 hours of your time a week by getting you out of operations, but showing you how to do it in a way where you don't worry, you still have clarity, you still have confidence, peace of mind with all of it, even though you're not in it day to day, but you can focus on those growth aspects. What is that worth? Again, I can't tell you you're going to 10x your business, but I guarantee you're going to be in a lot better shape.
Productivity is a great barometer. That's a perfect example, John, because we're not going to know how many dollars we earned more per hour that we spent on something, but that working in versus on is really priceless. It's the, that's why I'm at the beach today. It's the freedom that we're all after, which is really the biggest ticket item, I think. A lot of people listen to this show, they're small business owners. Increasingly, they're younger and newer to entrepreneurship. And so they're coming into business in a world where things change so rapidly that I think it's almost hard to get your bearings. So being curious is great, but sometimes things are changing so fast you don't have time to even learn. What do you say to people starting out? Maybe they're opening their first business or they want to figure out how to navigate this business world.
One of the things I say the most is, again, I think one of the places that people outsource or bring help in the last is in operations. And truly launching operations with a strategic mindset, knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it, instead of piecemealing this and that. I've been a part of organizations where there's a spider web of technology they use because everyone finds some tool or solution they want to adopt and they just adopt it, right? Because it helps them in the moment without anyone taking a look at how do these work with one another? Is there something native and something else we're using that I can adopt instead of bringing this other third party in? And so really having a strategy on how you launch your payroll, how you run your accounting systems, making sure that things are strategic in the operational sense as well. And then really having that trusted person in operations. I think every business owner, there's a weak spot that they have that their number two needs to fill that. For me, I know it's sales and marketing, right? Operations is my bread and butter. For me, it's sales and marketing. For most business owners, it's that operational piece. It's that person who dots the I's, crosses the T's, making sure the trains are running on time, and just making sure that everything is running efficient and effective.
How do you find those people? I ask because I've experienced this myself. I've had businesses where that was clearly not my strong suit or something I wanted to get distracted with. I could possibly do it, but that wasn't where I wanted to be. But how do we spot good people in that field?
I'll first answer that with say something I've seen where mistakes are made. So again, as I said before, like one area where mistakes are made is that the CEO owner thinks they have the time expertise to take it on and they don't. The other one is that they take the EA or a very junior employee and just everything extra gets thrown at them. So may have the time and energy to do it, but do they have the expertise? The third problem I see is people who overpay for experts. I've literally had a company that was paying their $600 an hour attorney handle setting up their business insurance. Like literally being just a communicator between the insurance broker, and the CEO, $600 an hour. So those are the three problems I see that most people do. What I really recommend most small businesses, especially startups, do is bring in someone fractional. And there are a lot of people, yes, you're going to pay more per hour, no doubt about that. But I can do in 10 hours per week for organizations what someone junior can do in 40. Because I've been there, I've done that. I know where the holes are. I know what systems, how they work, how they operate. And I've been around the block. And you can find a lot of experienced people. Maybe it's not always at the COO level. Maybe you don't need that quite yet, but at an operations manager or operations director level, where you can bring them in, get the work done, and really have faith in that peace of mind that's being done correctly.
Yeah. And I think that's where we have to use our minds the best to really say, okay, I could figure this out. But you're right. There's so many different ways in which we do manage to do it the wrong way and just set ourselves on the wrong course.
All right.
If you liked the show,
Yes, and
it worked for you, Subscribe and leave a
Yes, friend.
5-star review.
Yes, friend.
Tell all your friends.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Did I make it clear?
Yes, friend.
Get your branding on
Yes.
before they're gone.